Hello, everybody. My name is Carah Burrell. Sometimes I go by Nuancehoe. And usually, when we are opening up a new file on Tim Ballard, we're looking at something obviously very polished, a press release, something that is a carefully edited interview, maybe something from, I don't know, a sweaty gym video of Tim's. Obviously, I'm kidding, and the sweaty gym video is what we'll be presenting today. We're looking at something that I can really only describe as a declaration of war. And to set the scene for everybody listening, our source material today is not one of Tim Ballard's studio recordings. It is Tim Ballard in the middle of a sweaty gym session, literally taking a break, adrenaline clearly pumping, and he's looking into the camera, effectively taking on the entire world, this podcast included. Um, Very angry. But our mission today is to parse through this tangled web of allegations and threats, going through a huge cast of characters, names like Trader D, Celeste Boris, Sasha Hightower, Eric Mustos, Ryan Fisher, yours truly. Because to believe that Tim Ballard is innocent in the year of our Lord 2026, to believe that Tim Ballard is innocent, you have to believe that his former executive assistant Celeste Boris is lying. You have to believe that Krista Casey is lying, that she made it all up. You have to believe that Sasha Hightower is lying. I didn't even think that we would see the day where we would know the names of these brave women, of Tim's accusers. But we do, because they have evidence and they have matched their allegations with the patterns that other people have seen and put their name and reputation out there. You'd have to, if you wanted to believe that Tim was innocent, you would also have to believe that Keira Lynch is lying, Amy Morgan Davis is lying, Bree Ryder is lying, Mary Hall would be lying. I guess they're all liars. All the women who filed civil complaints in Utah, all the women who filed in federal court, all the women who filed police reports are lying. All the people who went to law enforcement, they're all lying. The media is lying. To believe Tim Ballard, you'd have to believe that investigative journalists like Lynn Packer are lying. The Salt Lake Tribune, Vice News, the New York Times. You'd have to believe that the church's own media arm, Deseret News, is misleading the public and lying about Tim Ballard. KSL News, former Operation Underground Railroad employees are lying. The board of members who all distanced themselves, people who are in Tim's family are lying. The internal investigators are lying that helped kick Tim out of OUR are lying. You'd have to believe that all of the reporting from Davis County is wrong and dishonest. And most of all, you'd also have to take all of that together and believe that one innocent person stands at the center of it. You'd have to believe that I am a dishonest podcaster, that I am lying, Carah Burrell, my co-host, and Tim's former friend and business partner, Ryan Fisher, are lying, just fabricating smears because we work for the devil. Pro-LDS podcasters are lying. Former allies of Tim are lying. Eric Mustos, Greg Mattson, the LDS Church's PR rep, Doug Anderson, is lying. You'd have to believe Tim's own sister-in-law, who worked at OUR, is also lying. All of the people who went on ops with Tim are lying. You have to believe that all of these people across all of these agencies, all these institutions, all of these years are all lying about the same pattern, about the same person, engaging in all of these patterns, all of these allegations of misconduct that we're all supposedly up to on behalf of the devil, and that we've all been doing this before lawsuits even started flying. So you'd have to believe that every single civil filing is a coordinated hit job, that every affidavit is a hit job, every text message, every piece of evidence, that is all taken wildly out of context. So not only do you have to believe that all of us, all of those people all of the women all have to be lying, but you have to believe the word of one man at the center of it all, that he's telling the truth, and that when he says this is all fabricated, that you have to believe his word over the women. Welcome to the Timmy Did podcast. Welcome to the Timmy Did What podcast, where we believe the women. Let me get my co-host in here, Ryan Fisher, in the house. What's up, dude?
That's a great list. That's a great list, and it's by no means comprehensive. There are a lot of people that still aren't on the list, like Glenn Beck and others. They're apparently liars as well. And yeah, Tim expects people to believe him over that long list. I'm so glad you put that together because that was awesome. And yet there are people out there that do believe that one guy over the chorus, the massive crowd of people that have come out and denounced him. So our work's not yet done, and here we are.
So, Ryan, thank you for helping me put together that list. If you guys don't know, my co-host here, Ryan Fisher, again, former business partner, former friend of Tim Ballard, used to platform him, and we coordinated a couple years ago to just talk about exposing this fraud for who he is. And it has come at a personal cost to us. Hopefully it doesn't have to go into the courts, but today we're going to get into a video of, when Tim doesn't like what people say about him, he threatens a lot of lawsuits, and he's declared war against us. So I feel like we are at a crossroads a little bit. Ryan, would you mind starting by telling me a little bit about the text message that you sent last week and just about what your fears were continuing making this podcast? And then I also want to talk about my fears and my own personal struggle with doing this podcast. So what was that all about?
Yeah, we should probably get real. Tim is like a monkey with a machine gun, just taking shots, doesn't know what he's shooting at. He's shooting at everybody that comes in his line of sight. And in order for us to do this podcast, we have to listen and pay attention to this monkey. And in every post that he puts out there, he'll use language like happy Sunday, like good morning. And then he'll go into these angry rants, attacking people personally, viciously, insulting. And that's taken a toll on me. We've been doing this, Carah, for 2 years. 2 years is when I think we almost exactly 2 years ago, I went on your YouTube channel and just tell my story, get it out there. Yeah. And so we're still here. We're still talking about it. But 2 years of listening to this guy and the absolute nonsense and the anger and hatred that comes out of his mouth, it takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on me. It's one of those things where I really hope that he'd be in jail by now, but he's not. And listening to those angry rants day in, day out it kind of robs me of a little bit of joy in life, knowing that Tim is still out there in the state I live in the communities that me and my family frequent, and walking free and still attacking people. Now, the other thing that some of our audience isn't there for firsthand, and we try and share this with you guys as much as possible, is the dozens and dozens of people that have contacted us on a regular basis with their own stories of being used and abused by Tim and how he has wrecked their families. I mean, I've been personally attacked and hurt by him, but the stories that we have come across that people have told us about how he's completely destroyed marriages, families, robbed other people of joy in really demonic, like really evil ways, is really sad and really hard. And so I have this like um conversation in my mind every week where we want to be supportive of all these people and tell their stories and give them some sort of justice, because so far the courts have completely failed in holding him accountable and being involved in that. But I think, I mean, you're an empath and I am too, in a sense that we hear these stories and our heart hurts for these people and what they've gone through. The women that have been attacked, not only physically and sexually, allegedly, but also the aftermath of that when they have come out and stood up to their abuser, his vicious attacks on them, calling them liars and calling them all sorts of things, and contacting them in some cases and threatening them. Um, it's an ugly, ugly world, and it's taken a toll the last 2 years. And I've had multiple times where I'm like, I gotta step out of this. I gotta find the joy in my life again and focus on my family, my kids, and I've quit the podcast multiple times
Mhm.
for short periods of time because it just drags me down. Tim drags me down. That's his superpower, is he drags people down. He was doing it at OUR, and then he finds an enemy and he drags them down. He drags you down. I know. But then there's the people that are being dragged down that don't have a voice, that don't have a platform like we have. And I'm also very fired up when I hear him attacking these people or attacking us and being like, all right, let's go, let's do this thing. And so it's a constant battle between being dragged down and wanting to fight with everything that I have because of the insulting attacks that he's hurling at all these people that I care about, attacks against us and attacks against innocent women and families that we have come to know of doing this podcast. So yeah, it's a tough situation. I've never been in a situation like this before, and so I think you probably feel the same way with the
Mhm.
emotional toll that it takes on you.
It does. I'm gonna get into something kind of personal, and I hope that I can get before I get into the personal toll that it's taken on me. I probably will start tearing up a little bit, and we will get into Tim's threats against us in a second. But I just want to make sure that you guys understand what's on the line financially for us. And just emotionally, spiritually, physically, as we do this podcast. And it might seem small and it might be like, yeah, everyone knows that he's guilty, move on. But I just see Tim as an emblem of this greater Epstein class of, people who have issues with child trafficking. Tim is not one of them, trust me. I do, you listener do. People who have issues with child sex abuse, with, you know, assault and people in positions of power taking advantage of the less vulnerable, the less advantaged and more vulnerable in our society and around the world. I think just good-hearted people see Tim as an emblem of taking advantage of all of that and profiting off of it and never having to see see his day in court and see justice. But that's part of my, I don't know, my core identity that I can't stop speaking out against injustice. And Tim is just a part of that. In my opinion, a very guilty part of that. So before I get into a more personal rant and story, please, everyone out there, if you haven't subscribed, me and Ryan are going into business hardcore together. We're going to be producing podcasts sometimes 2 to 3 days a week about all kinds of subjects. This is my Timmy Did What podcast. I also have my Mormon History Hoedown podcast. You can subscribe to either of those on wherever you get your podcasts and listen to those. But the Carah Burrell YouTube channel, it's the place you want to be. So all kinds of topics from Mormon history to deconstruction, reconstruction, my Mormonize Me project. I'm going to be releasing more videos on that. So Ryan, I'm really excited to work with you. and he's going to be more of my full-time co-host. I'm going to be interviewing the chief of the Timpanogos tribe, the Mormon Story Studio, with Ryan in a couple of weeks. So a lot of amazing content I'm really excited to produce. This is just one piece of it, and anything you can do to support this channel, we really do live and die on donor funds. So if you have donated already, I appreciate that. I love you. But anyone else who could give a little bit more, our Patreon is a great place for that. Recurring donations and our donor box. There's a link down below. And it would mean the world if you guys could donate to our Venmo or a donor box, just a couple bucks a month. Help keep this sustainable for me and Ryan to keep doing on a weekly basis. So we hope if we put out the content and it's valuable and useful, the comments are great, the likes are amazing, and the financial support also helps us thrive. So with getting that out of the way, yeah, the emotional toll. I was thinking the other day as we were kind of on this crossroads of Tim threatening lawsuits against just about everyone, and now including us, as we'll get into, like, why do I do this? Like, what is this piece within me that just can't say no to wanting to punch these men in the mouth who just, I can't stop standing up for the women that like I said in my intro, that I never knew when I started this in 2023, if I would ever be able to know the names or the faces, let alone now, like the friendship that I have with these amazing ladies who have worked with Tim Ballard and have obviously really devastating stories of abuse that they've shared and have evidence to support that we talk about. I never knew if I would, be able to know their names, let alone meet them. And it reminds me of this interview that I did with Stephen Hassan, who is a cult expert I've had on my podcast a couple times. And he went through this exercise with me and my buddy Kyle at the time that was co-hosting with me. And we were talking about this practice of when you're breaking free from a cult. And imagine yourself, for him, it was the Moonies. For us, me and Kyle, when we were in this interview, it was us in the temple going through this very cult-like initiation. And put yourself with all of the power that you have right now in your stature, if you could put yourself back in that mindset of the temple when you're about to say these phrases and commit your time, talents, and money for eternity to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, what do you wish that you would have done then? What do you wish you would have been able to say? And it's like, at first I was thinking like, oh, I wish I would have known the history of the Freemasonry. And Stephen Hassan cuts us off and he's like, no. I want you to stand up. I want you to visualize yourself standing up. Just like you said, I stood up. I visualized myself when I was talking to the leader of the Korean Moonies when he said that we're going to kill the rest of the world if they don't convert. I would have stood up and I would have said, hell no, you guys are all psychopaths. I'm out of here. The same thing applies. When I was in the temple, I wish I would have said, this is ridiculous. I'm out of here. And I'm going to do everything I can to live a life of authenticity. It has nothing to do with anything within this building. But the more serious aspect gets into it when we're talking about sexual abuse, victims of manipulation, spiritual abuse, and all of this manipulation that goes into creating victims that sometimes don't know that they're being victimized. And trigger warning, I was a victim of a lot of child sexual abuse. And as I was thinking through this episode that I knew we needed to create about the crossroads that we're at right now, and I was thinking about why I keep doing this, I thought back to myself as a little child being molested. And there was an instance in which my older sister walked in the room one time. And I looked up at her with like eyes of like, please, I don't know. It was like, please help me, go tell mom. But I also didn't want her to tell mom because I was afraid that I was going to get in trouble, things like that. But for about 20 years, I didn't talk to, and it came out in my family, and I didn't ever ask my sister why she didn't say anything, like why she didn't tell, like why didn't she help me? And I didn't know that for 20 years, she was secretly thinking about that every day, that she wished that she would have said something, but she was just a child. She didn't know enough to stand up to my older brother, to stand in front of my parents and tell them something so devastating. And I have all the understanding in the world for that. And she's held that. And so in my personality, I have just internalized that if I have the means and I have the time and I have the money, not a lot of it, but I want to do what Stephen Hassan told me to do. I want to do what other people in other situations haven't had the resources, haven't had the ability, the support, the maturity, the what have you, to be able to stand up for victims of sex abuse, whether they're children or whether they're 40-year-old women, and say that the men who are taking advantage and putting them in these disgusting, manipulative situations need to stop. And that's just core to who I am. That there's a version of my older sister that lives within inside me that says, I understand that you couldn't fight, but I'm going to continue that fight. So that is why I'm emotional, and it hits me on a different level when I think of the faces and the stories that I've heard, not just in court transcripts, but in person from these real women. And Ryan, thanks for agreeing to hit this podcast hard with me. I'm gonna go get a tissue, but that's the emotional cost, and it feels heavy when you're a woman in this administration, in this society. Ryan, back to you.
I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, but it also God, now I'm getting emotional. It it reveals to me where your strength comes from, and I see that in these women that have come forward also. And it's one of those things where when somebody like Tim Ballard or anybody in your life, whether it's a toxic spouse, ex-spouse, or somebody that is manipulative and coercive and just takes from others in really horrible ways, there's two things to do: cower, run away, hide, try and pretend it didn't exist, it doesn't happen, and stick your head in a hole. And I don't fault anybody for doing that, because the world is so ugly. There's people in our families that do horrible things, that are really awful people. There's people in the government right now that are doing horrible, awful things. And a big part of me wants to just run away, hide, shut it all out, pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And but I know if we do that, then nothing's going to change, and more people are going to get hurt and abused. And so the crossroads that we're facing, and we've had, me and Cara have had lots of long discussions about this recently, is, do we do that and try and preserve our own mental health, preserve the joy we have of our families and our kids, and try and shun out all of this evilness? Or do we lean into it and fight with everything we have? And the decision that we've come up with for now is that as long as we have the means and the platform, then we're going to give it everything we have to fight against these kind of people. And not everybody can do that at different stages of their life. The women that have come forward, they have put everything on the line to call out their abuser, Tim Ballard. And I know we've taken a lot of inspiration from them. I still take inspiration from them, that if they can do it, then maybe I can, muster some courage to at least be in a supportive role for that. I hate the world we live in, that we have to deal with this. And I'm so sorry you went through that, Cara. But I also recognize that that's probably what makes you so strong, and what makes these women strong, that if you can overcome this, then you become a stronger person that then can hopefully be in a position to help others that have been abused or going through the same kind of traumatic experiences, as tragic and as sad as that is, but it's the reality of the world that we live in.
Yeah, thank you for those words, Ryan. Thank you for sharing all that too. And it's a sad reality of the world we live in. And I have more rants that I have locked and loaded, but we'll have to save those to the end, because I want to talk about intuition. and restoring
Mhm.
the divine feminine. And we have been so wounded by this authoritarian bullshit masculine presence that is in our psyches, it's in our government, it's in our religions, but it doesn't have to be if we can just call it out and restore the intuitive nature that's in all of us that is leans more on feminine aspects that have been so discounted for millennia. I want to talk about that as well. So stay tuned for some other rants. Maybe I'll get into Erica Kirk too, because I don't know if you guys have been following that controversy. Tell me, chat, where you guys stand on Candace and Erica Kirk, because that's been a big topic this week. But I see a lot of issues with people just flatlining with their intuition when it comes to fraudsters, let's say. Okay. All right. Everyone take a deep breath. And Ryan, should we start with our first video of Tim in the gym? Is that where you want to start?
Yeah. You fill up for wading into the swamp.
Oh,
This
I'm
guy.
born ready.
Everybody be in a safe space. You are loved. The world is beautiful. We're just going to go into the darkness of the mind of Tim Ballard for a few moments, but we'll walk with you through this darkness together. So take care of your mental health first stuff. And let's go.
All right. Okay. So like I said at the beginning, we're going to be introduced to a cast of characters. So Ryan, stop this at any time when you need to expound and add some context. But
okay, maybe I should
go ahead.
I should probably introduce who David Jacobs or Trader D is.
Okay, you do that while I get a tissue.
Tim does not give an explanation of who he is. So first off, anybody that criticizes Tim in any way, shape, or form, he flies off the handle. He is the thinnest skinned person I've ever met. I've told stories before about when I was traveling with him and he'd read a negative book review and completely fly off the handle. He'd be done for the entire day in an angry state of manic. And so somebody else has entered this whole saga that we've never talked about. I've known about this individual. I have a personal friend who is in his family, and Tim is attacking. His name is David Jacobs. Now he worked closely with Tim at OUR. He also is in charge of, I can't remember what his exact title is, but he's oversees the Nazarene Fund with Glenn Beck. That's Glenn Beck's charitable organization. And Tim was on the payroll of the Nazarene Fund for a period of time before Glenn Beck denounced Tim and cast him out and believe the women, put out reporting that supported the women's claims of sexual assault against him. And so Tim, when he reads something or sees somebody attack him, he goes in full counterattack mode. And I believe what's happened, and I'm trying to piece with people that are in the know. I'm trying to piece together what's happening here because he's going into full attack mode of David Jacobs. And I don't know why, because David Jacobs have not been present publicly. He's not been in any social media posts. I think what has happened, and this is pending confirmation, is that David Jacobs was deposed for the court case, and he gave an absolute decimating testimony against Tim Ballard in a sworn deposition. That's what I believe is happening here. And Tim got that deposition was for lawyers only at this stage. And somehow Tim got a hold of that deposition and he realized that this is going to be a big, big problem for him moving forward. Whatever David Jacobs, who was his boss, worked closely with him at OUR, it's a big problem and it's absolutely devastating. So I believe that is why he's attacking this person now, attacking his credibility, making all sorts of salacious claims about him personally. And so, but I'm still trying to confirm the details of all of that. So we're in some sort of war between Tim Ballard and David Jacobs, who he calls Trader D in this video. And we can see that whatever he's got, Tim is upset, really upset about. So that's what I know, or that's what I speculated that I know.
Speculating that there might be a deposition that his former boss laid out all of his crimes, revealed everything, and so because we haven't heard of David Jacobs in the Tim
Mm-mm.
Ballard multisphere up to this
Multi-
point. So he's coming out hard. There must be a reason, right?
yeah.
Okay. And roll.
Good morning, everybody. I'm in the gym and I was just looking at some of the comments. I don't usually look at comments, but someone sent me one that was interesting on the Trader D. Go check out the Trader D posts, okay? I'm going to make a comparison right now. One of the comments accused me of using AI to do my breakdown of Trader D. Now, thank you for the backhanded compliment, okay? I assure you, I don't use AI to pretend that I'm saying things that I can't process or assimilate on my own. Do you understand that I'm suing all these people? If your name has been
Could you
mentioned,
bounce the
you're
audio up
likely
a little,
being sued,
Sarah?
unless something.
That's as high as it is for me.
How,
How's it for this
how's it
for
go?
the audience? Audience, how's
Can
the
you do it
audio
on your
today?
computer?
Yeah, then it'll
Yeah, it's
don't
we
yell
can
at
hear
me.
it, but it's a little bit low.
Okay. All right. So he's talking about how he's been accused of using AI as he's going after David Jacobs or whatever.
I'm saying things that I can't process or assimilate on my own. Do you understand that I'm suing all these people? If your name has been mentioned, you are likely being sued, unless something changes. Which means that any video I do will be scrutinized in court, okay? I'm very friendly with courts. I've been on both sides, okay, and I've won almost every time. Oh, every time, okay? And I'm not gonna do something stupid, like put AI in my mouth to be exposed later, okay? Now, check out the upper room message. Check out the garden tomb message, okay? I've been accused of using AI there too. The truth is, when you are speaking truth, okay, it flows like a beautiful fountain from heaven. Okay, you have to just recall things with the help of the Holy Spirit, and it's not difficult to imagine such a flow occurring when you are telling the truth. You don't have to make things up, like Trader D is going to be doing when people start asking him these questions. You don't have to make things up, like Sasha Hightower had to do in the exposure video I did about her. You're not going to make things up or sit there like a deer in the headlights, like Celeste Boris did.
All right. Calling
All
out
right.
pictures and names of all these people. What do you got, Ryan?
Well, the pattern that Tim gives here is he starts whatever he's going to say with trying to convince you that he's a truthful person. Like, you notice that? Like it's a tactic that he understands that he's going to be saying things that are lies. So he spends the first 60 seconds of his video trying to say, I have to be truthful. I would never use AI. I know about truth. It flows like a river into my heart. You know, he's trying so hard to convince people that he's a truth speaking, trustworthy, honest person. He's trying so hard, which is the biggest red flag that he's a freaking liar. He's just a total liar. And so that's like red flag number one. Okay. That's just what I want to put out there.
Red flag Arama for sure. Okay. I mean, my intro already gave away the plot, basically. Red flags all over the place. All these people have to be lying to him? Really? Okay. Love you, Celeste.
In the exposure video I did for her. In fact, I'm going to drop. Here. Let's watch that little scene from Celeste Boris when she's asked the question, why did you keep going back with Tim if he was sexually exploiting you or raping you? Why do you keep going back 30 times? Are you a mentally handicapped child? Or are you a woman in her 40s who's run a business and raised children? Watch her response. Here it is.
If you were being assaulted, why did you keep going back?
Wow, how embarrassing. Okay.
God
Full
damn you,
screen.
Tim. Like
Sorry.
he,
I went full screen. I was about to rant. Go ahead.
yeah, me too. He sexually assaulted this woman allegedly multiple times in multiple states, multiple countries, and then he has the audacity to go on social media and call her a mentally retarded child, whatever he said. Like, what a piece of total shit, this guy is. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Um, yeah. But the other thing that I wanted to say is Celeste's reaction of having no words is absolutely so consistent with true trauma of sexual assault survivors. That question, why did she continue to work with him after he sexually assaulted her, allegedly? That question is the hardest question to answer, the absolute hardest question to answer. I'm not an expert. I don't know anything, but I know enough to know that asking a question like, okay, you're like, why did you stay with your abusive husband for 10 years when he was beating the crap out of you, on a regular basis? That is such a hard question to answer for women in that situation. And if anything, it reveals how manipulative that husband, or in this case, Tim, was in keeping somebody trapped in his system so that he could further abuse them. That's the way I see it. That the manipulation on a spiritual level, on a physical level, but also the threatenings and the threatenings that, I mean, we'll see all throughout this video how much he's threatening these women. He was doing that obviously when he was working with them. He was threatening them, and so asking somebody, "Hey, why don't you leave? I got a gun to your head. What's your problem? Why don't you leave? You can leave right now, but I got a gun to your head." It's so insulting to these women, not only demeaning and insulting, but it absolutely reveals to me who he is, that he was threatening and manipulating, coercing them into staying in his system so he could commit further atrocities against them. And Celeste's silence speaks volumes in that moment to me. Absolute volumes.
Dude. Glad that you went first, because all I gotta say is fuck you, Tim Ballard. Who the fuck do you think you are? Are you the guy who goes out into third world countries and goes into brothels and finds pimps who have sex trafficked women and children who are being held against their will because they've been psychologically manipulated out of a place of desperation, poverty, and promises of, something that you're offering? Aren't you the guy who goes into third world countries and goes shakes up brown people and puts your cameras in their face? Like, Tim, I thought that you're that guy who understands how women and children and victims are put in positions that they can't leave from. Who the fuck do you think you are, Tim, to say that to women who their allegation, just to be clear, their allegation is that you did that to them, that you sex trafficked them, that you manipulated them, that you had to, their allegation is that you, under the guise of the couple's ruse, this genius plan that you came up with straight from God out of your mouth and penis into them, like, you're the one who said that the couple's ruse is a totally cool, calm, non-sexually predatory practice, right, Tim? So with all of that on the table, their allegation is that you use the couple's ruse to keep them in a sex trafficking situation, the expert on sex trafficking. So what are we left to believe here? Oh, that you're a fraud? Are we left to believe here that their allegations that you don't know how to run ops, that you misused all of the donor money, the allegations that you are just a big creep, spiritual and physical sexual abuser are all correct? That's what I feel like we're led to believe by that fucking statement alone, that, oh, my victim, my alleged victim here, when they have a chance to speak, they blink like deer in the headlights? Fuck off, Tim Ballard. Do you know the first thing about how actual victims, oh, they're only actual victims if you can put a camera in their face and then edit yourself hugging them and stroking them and saying that people want to stop you. That's who the victims are. The victims are only the ones with Tim's camera, with his editing, with his big screen, with all of his publicity around him. The only victims to Tim Ballard are the ones that are like within his proximity that stay within his narrative. But actual victims of sex trafficking, Tim doesn't give a fuck about. Actual victims within OUR and their practices, Tim doesn't give a fuck about. And if this isn't the most clear proof of that, he calls somebody a deer in headlights when they don't know how to respond why they didn't leave. I don't know, Tim. If you want to go back to those third world countries, if you want to go back to all of the 7,000 women and children that you supposedly have fucking rescued, that you lay your entire platform before, why don't you fucking go and ask those 7,000 women and children why they didn't leave their abusers? And rant.
Yeah, well said. Like, it's a really good thing that Tim isn't in front of me right now. I'm not saying that rhetorically, because may God damn him for the words that come out of his mouth.
To everyone who's ever interacted with Tim, you included, Ryan, I've had the pleasure of never having to interact with him in person, let alone having him touch my body. So to all of the women out there, this rant has been for you. This is, again, me making a choice at the crossroads that we're at of, again, if you watch Candace Owens, go Max. It's a little if you're into that insider web, but this is me going fucking Max, dude. Like, I have a choice to make, and I'm gonna say fuck you, Tim Ballard, when the opportunity is given, because the women, people, everyone has a gag order. They have lawsuits circling them. They're not able to stand up and speak out. They're not able to stand up to their alleged abuser. But I'm allowed to say allegedly. Tim, you are allegedly an unhinged, psychopathic, cold-hearted, vile rapist. And I say that with my full chest. So, okay. Should we keep playing?
Okay.
Oh, I forgot we had a video. We're watching a video still. I forgot.
Yeah, this is not over. This is just beginning.
Oh, yeah. He has to threaten us first. He threatened us before I even said that. We'll see what he has to say next. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Trader D's can have the same embarrassment Sasha Hightower already has. I'm going to play that video next. And all of them are getting theirs. In fact, I'm working on a Krista Casey one. She is in big trouble. I have been testifying against her in both Mexico and the Dominican Republic for obstruction of justice and being an accomplice to child trafficking. And Sasha did the same thing. They're both in big trouble in their effort to steal money from foundations. And by the way, I think they dipped their hand after causing millions of dollars of damages with the Mortensen Mafia. They dipped their hands again, knowing that they're guilty. How much more damage can they do to children? And now they have blood money, which we're going to get back. We're going to get back and donate to the cause when I take everything from them and donate it to the cause. But
can I just say one thing? You know why I'm a better person than Tim Ballard too, amongst many.
Why? Tell us why, Carah.
When I do my hit pieces on Tim, obviously I bring evidence and integrity and all of that. But also when I put up my thumbnails, 99% of the time, with rare occasions when I find ones of him allegedly on cocaine, I have to use those ones. But 99% of the time, I try to make sure he looks like Tim Ballard, where you look at him and like, yeah, that's a picture of him. I don't try to get like a still shot of the person that I dislike, like he's doing with like Sasha, like, huh, and like Krista, like, of like, see? The facial expressions that they're making show that they're disingenuous, lying bitches. Like, it's low-hanging fruit. Like, I don't need to do that. I'm like, you saw the thumbnail I put up today. Tim, you're looking masculine. You got your pecs out, your nipples pert. Beautiful. All right? On the thumbnail, me and Ryan, you're going down. Okay? That's how you do this. All right? It's low-hanging fruit. It's obnoxious. Okay, Tim? Up your game if you're going to be coming for any of us women, and use flattering pictures. Okay.
Yeah, and the problem is that all these women are very attractive women, and
I know,
and that's a problem for him for his testimony. But it's also, I'm sure, very distracting for him when he watches through. He's like, I need to focus on taking them down and hating them. They're so damn good looking. I got to find the most unattractive photos I possibly can to present them as that. So
I know.
I see through that, Tim.
Yeah. Yeah, don't you guys? I mean, I haven't called that out before, but I felt like it was about time. I was like, it's just one after another. It's like, shut your fucking mouth. Oh,
But let me
God.
let me also point out what he's
Yeah.
actually saying here, because this is freaking hilarious to me that he is calling Sasha and Krista Casey as the traffickers. He's outing in what he's claiming are actual accomplices to trafficking. So we have Tim Ballard. This is a guy, he's a Sound of Freedom hero, and he's using his social media platform of 1.5 million people almost between Facebook and Instagram to out actual traffickers. And he's like, Krista Casey, Sasha Hightower, these are the accomplices to traffickers that I'm spending my time and resources
Yeah.
to take down. Like the Sound of Freedom hero, the self-proclaimed professional bounty hunter, trafficking, taking down CIA guy is going after these moms in Utah because and what actual
Mom's a
evidence is he
victim.
bringing against them? Well, they divulged the couple's ruse, which inhibited him on missions from having sex with his partner. I mean, saving kids, and so that makes them accomplices to trafficking. Like, do you see what bullshit this is? Like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like
So
I don't know. If I put this in a movie script, people would be reading, be like, yeah, that's too ridiculous. We can't run with that. That sounds just absolutely ridiculous. And yet he's still pushing this narrative that these soccer moms in Utah that are probably in a carpool line this afternoon, one of them just had a baby, are the number one villains that he needs to be spending his time taking down. And that's
Mhm.
laughable, hilarious. It'd be hilarious if it wasn't true that he's actually spending his time doing this. But
And
there
what
we are.
also is just sick about it, we're gonna have to, as the Epstein case further unfolds and we, see what different people in political positions of power, have to say. I'm gonna wait till it unfolds a little bit longer before I share some more things about Tim and what his most recent comments are about the Epstein files. So, but up to this point, I mean, we had a video 2 weeks ago about Tim and the Epstein files. You guys can go back and watch that one. I think it's one of the best ones we've ever done. Basically, grotesquely excusing that if some people have to do really nasty things for the sovereignty of their country. This is just kind of how it works, But if you want to go back and watch his full comments from a couple months ago that we commented on a couple weeks ago, please go watch that. I can link it down below. But recently, Ryan, I don't know if you'd heard that he was walking in front of the Capitol building a couple weeks ago, and a lot of people in his audience, obviously, are the same people who want to see the Epstein files released. They believe that the world is, run whether through their QAnon resources or just, their eyes with their sight, sounds, and senses. That the world is run by lots of different pedophiles, right? He's has a hold over this audience that is anti-sex trafficking, and what he does with that audience, like you're saying, is so it's so important. He over a decade has curated an audience who cares about this subject. I care about this subject. We have differences about the best means to help it be eradicated, right? But uh with this audience capture, what is he doing? He's saying that Sound of Freedom 2, the chief villain is going to be soccer mom Krista Casey, not a Colombian drug lord like the first one. We know that was titillating. Oh my God. But you prepare for Sound of Freedom 2, too fast, too free. Krista Casey driving in her soccer mom minivan over to overthrow Tim Ballard's operations to save her traffickers, whatever, right? So recently also, in addition to just what we're covering right now and how obnoxious this is, if this is what he's saying to his audience, I just want you guys to pay attention, and I wanna hear your comments too about this audience capture of people, mostly from the right spectrum. Previously, he's helped Donald Trump get elected, and he was on a special counsel for sex trafficking with Trump, and he's still a big supporter of Trump. This is not to get political here. This is just to say that if he doesn't start acknowledging that there are some names in the files, then what has this audience capture all been for, right? And now what he's been saying recently, this is the point that I'm getting to, is that he said that you guys want me to comment. I think his direct quote is, "You guys want me to comment on the Epstein files, but it's not just one island. There's lots of islands, and you want to know what's even worse than that? Mortensen Mafia." And he goes and he brings it back to himself. I know there's a lot of victims and a lot of people have their stories, but grabs the microphone, sets up the cameras. Lights on me, Tim Ballard. You know what's worse than all of the Epstein stuff? What I'm going to tell you guys about. What's been happening to me. And that's what is really, like, I did not expect to be in this position. I don't know about you, Ryan, but I did not expect to be in the position where the Epstein files would be released. And there is all across the board, yes, legitimate people who do horrific things, people who have not just faced backlash, but their lives threatened, some people possibly murdered, buried at Zorro Ranch. Like, the things that Tim has been talking about an entire mafia of people taking down those who want to expose the predatory behaviors of X, Y, and Z elites, whoever of the world. He has an audience capture of people who understand that's a true narrative. Am I wrong? Like, that's a true narrative. Obviously, if you come out against some of the most wealthy, powerful people who traffic and abuse women and children around the world, your life might be threatened. So he's taking that sincere problem that a lot of people have faced, genuine victims of Epstein and people in this Epstein class have faced, and he's manipulating that, and he's taking that heart space, that empathy that people have of this decade of sex trafficking, and what the fuck is he using it for? To say that what he's going through is actually worse. So I'll have to play that clip in another episode, but that is what I really want people to pay attention to across this entire fraudulent scheme that he has going on, is this audience capture, and how he is, like, misusing it is not a strong enough word, obviously, but it's insidious, and I wish more people in his audience would recognize that like, he is only using that audience capture, that narrative about the backlash and the threats when you go after sex traffickers. He's using that genuine, horrific problem with our justice system and with the elites of our society to make him the victim. That's the biggest problem for Tim Ballard.
Yeah. He's the victim that needs saving.
There's other islands, and the island he's on is the worst. This is a good time to mention that super chats are also welcome. So if you guys want to get your comment on screen, if you want to help support the podcast, button, pop that in there, and love the support as they come in. Okay. Whew, we're rocking and rolling here. Okay, back into it.
Oh, it's worse than Celeste, honestly. But remember Troy Abels, that good man, Troy Abels? He, unlike the other dishonest podcasters who are in big trouble, I almost want to say their names right now, but I'm not going to. They'll get letters pretty soon by court martials. But Troy Abels did his homework on Krista Casey like a year ago, before we were even talking a lot. And I'm going to play that for you in memory of him. He did a whole breakdown on Krista Casey. I think it was over a year ago. And I remember I listened to it, and I was just blown away. Like, he figured it out because he did his homework. Unlike people like Greg Maxson or Eric Mustos, they did no homework. They're just out there to be popular. They're in such big trouble. Such big trouble. They're part of a huge conspiracy. And I even told Eric, and he wouldn't even come talk to me. Oh boy, it's fun times are coming. And Trader D got them in trouble. Trader D went to Eric Mustos. That's the great source. That's your great source. Krista Casey and Trader D are the sources to Eric Mustos. Wow. And Ryan Fisher. Wow. So when they all get sued, you're going to be standing on nothing. Mustos and Matson and others. Anyway.
Say my name. If no one
anyway,
you say baby. Don't you just want to, like, blast Destiny's Child when you hear that? And others, say my name, bitch. Come on. You fuck with Nuancehoe, don't you? Come on, you love this channel. All right, so there we have it.
Yeah.
We
So
can play the rest of it
apparently,
too, but go for it.
apparently David Jacobs, who was Tim's boss or worked closely with him at OUR, who worked closely with him through the Nazarene Fund. Eric Mustos also worked with him. I worked with Tim for 10 years. He's saying that all of our sources is Krista Casey, and she's lying, and we are going to go down in court when the lawsuits come out and all this is exposed. We are the insiders, dude. We are the insiders that worked with you personally. We're not taking somebody else's word for it. One woman. We do listen to all of the women. There are over a dozen of them, I believe, if you include those who settled with OUR internally. And these are women that all three of us know personally. Greg Mattson, he's the CWIC or Quick Pro LDS podcaster who did an interview with me a month or two ago. He did his homework also. He also talked with the women. He talks about it in that podcast, and he did his own investigation. Yeah. And so, like, you want to take us to court? Bring it on, dude. We will destroy you. We are all the insiders. I have 7 years of emails and text messages archived. I've given them to lawyers to archive for me that expose everything that you're about. And if you want, I got multiple lawsuits teed up if you want to go to war in court. Bring it on. Bring it on, dude. This is all documentation that you can't get dismissed, like in the case of Celeste Boris, because they were stolen. It's personal correspondence between you and me. David Jacobs has personal correspondence and records between you and him. Eric Mutsos, I'm sure, has it also, and a whole slew of other OUR operators that you don't even know are queued up, ready to take you down if they get a chance to take the stand. So bring it on.
Mm-hmm. Man, I just have a soundtrack of anthems that I am ready to pump out these speakers at you guys right now. Mostly the theme of Bring It On, but thank you, Ryan. Speaking on behalf of two completely impoverished poor people who have to podcast and ask for donations and so forth, we mean bring it on because we know we have the truth, but it's not a fight that we want to do. We just want to expose the truth, stand up for victims, and see some justice. But if it has to bring to that, if his threats that, Ryan Fisher, he really has it coming, and his amazing co-host Carah Burrell, who shall not be named, if that's what Tim has to play, so be it. So again, we have been at a crossroads, and we say bring it on. And hopefully you'll support us. Diamond Dave supports us. Too busy working on my gaming videos to come up with a good comment. Here's money. Dave, oh, you're too kind. The money and the comment are both well appreciated. I wanted to read one more. Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to read this one. I thought all of his attorneys dropped him because he doesn't have the money to pay them. Oh.
Ooh, I don't know who that is, but I've heard the same thing, that he's down to one two-pay sporting Eisenhut attorney. Let me just play out this scenario. So he's threatening he's threatening podcasters, Greg Mattson, other dishonest podcasters, obviously talking about you and me, because we're the most dishonest podcasters. That's who Troy Abels was attacking. We've actually mostly left that alone, but we probably ought to review his podcast with Troy Abels because he didn't do his homework. You can tell that Troy is simply taking Tim's talking points and was trying to refute everything that we were saying, that everyone else is saying, through Tim's conspiracy theory talking points. That's apparently obvious, and we should probably do a review of that. I've mostly been leaving Troy alone because I actually feel sorry for the guy. I consider Troy a victim as much as anybody else of Tim's manipulation. Now, I would hope that he'd be smarter than that and see through that, but he passed away without realizing that and making it right publicly. Anyways, the point being is let's play out this scenario. So Tim sues. He's threatening to. He's saying that lawsuits are coming against us, against Eric Mutzos, against David Jacobs, against Greg Mattson, who did a podcast, exercised his First Amendment right, just like Tim is doing right here. And let's say play out the scenario that he sues all of us individually or collectively. It doesn't matter. Then he's going to have to defend everything that he says. We're going to have to defend everything that we say in court on the stand. And you know who we're bringing to the stand? We're bringing to the stand Celeste Boris, the person that you fought for 2 years to silence and keep off the stand by getting her case dismissed over technicalities regarding stolen emails. That's who we're bringing to the stand, dude. You want Celeste on the case? She will absolutely fuck you up. And after Celeste is coming Carah. We're giving her day in court. Then we're giving Bree Ryder her day in court. We're giving Sasha her day in court. We're giving Mary, and we're giving all of these women,
Amy,
their day in court. We're giving them on the stand, and they will tell everything that you want to keep hidden. They will tell it all. And put them in front of a jury versus Tim. Game, set, match. There's no chance he's coming out of that without going to jail, in my opinion. Like he's not as convincing as he thinks he is. So because we have on our side the women, that they will absolutely testify what they've already been testifying if we go to court. I'm not worried about that court. In fact, part of me almost welcomes it. Like, let's go. Let's settle this. Let's go on the stand. Have to answer your questions. How did Celeste Boris' semen get on your semen get on her skirt? How'd that happen? Let's tell the story, Tim. Please elaborate. Like, which excuse is it? Is it you shared a suitcase together? Is it you had to jack off in front of a prostitute? Like, what is it? Or did you actually have a sexual relationship with your subordinate? So yeah, you want to talk about that in court, that will be public record that all the press will be reporting on. Do you think he's that stupid? Like, I almost think that I know. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he's that stupid? I think his anger takes control of his brain so much that, when anger takes control, all logic is shut off from your frontal cortex. And I think that he actually is that stupid because he's being controlled by this anger, this revenge. And even though if he'll lose in the end, he believes his own lies, that he is the victim in all of this. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that because I don't even think he has the money. If he had the money, it might be a different situation. There are speculations out there that he is now backed by Israel. He flipped a switch in the last few months to just be posting pro-Israel content every day and super over-the-top Islamophobic stuff every day too. And methinks he might be one of the influencers who might be paid by Netanyahu. I have no idea. That's just a guess that I have. So if he has the unlimited backing of Israel and their dollars, who knows? Who knows? And that does make me afraid. So to be honest, that's the only issue that does make me afraid. That the conversations that I have on the phone, the text messages that I have, that all of that I could be spied on. Like, truly, I could be spied on because Tim's not working by himself. He's working in concert with a foreign country that has all kinds of intelligence capabilities as they work in concert with ours, right? I don't know if that scares you, Ryan, but that's the part that scares me. Now, assuming that that's not true, because he wouldn't make a very good spokesperson with his sweaty gym videos, they would want him to be a little bit more classy, perhaps. But let's say he's working by himself and his money has run dry. His friends have abandoned him. He has 1-2 lawyers left. He's not able to get the backing of the church. And he's moved from organization to organization. Now he's got the Tim Ballard Foundation. And from what I can tell, I would love to be proven wrong on this, but from what I can tell, the only other person working there is his bestest bud in the whole world who's gone with him on all of this stuff, Matt Cooper. So it's like a
Mhm.
2-man operation that's supposed to be combating all the sex trafficking in the world. You got him. You got Catherine, who she is holding on for dear life with her, the spectrum could be cheating husband all the way to a rapist husband. So she's holding on for dear life, and that's not something that you want to hold on when those are the spectrums of your options. Sweet, sweet Catherine. But I don't think his support system to keep attacking people is really there anyway. So in those ways, I'm not afraid. Israel, maybe. If he has the backing and he has the money, perhaps, you know. But if you guys want to know my philosophy of life, lore building. You read about stories in the Bible all the time of the prophets that come up and the burning bush that calls, Moses, and Abraham does this and da-da-da. Bullshit. I mean, if you want to believe it, that's your prerogative. You can build all of that, all of those prophets, those prophetesses, you can build all of that lore in yourself. Ryan's a prophet to me. I'm a prophetess unto myself, and I'm here building a story. I look up to the prophetesses who are going and doing cool shit, taking down the devil incarnate, Tim Ballard. I look up to the prophetesses of Celeste Boris, Sasha Hightower, Kira Lynch, Bree Ryder, Mary Hall, Amy Morgan Davis. You can look out at the world and you can say, those are the badasses that I want to emulate. So am I afraid? No, because I do believe in the power of when people, women stand up and we say, these are the stories that we're writing in our society. No longer are men with their throne and their proximity to God, with their positions of power, are going to dictate what our society is going to be. They're going to put us in our place. When we band together and we say, we're writing our own story, we've got our own lore, we've got our own badassery, and we stand on business. Am I afraid? No, I'm not afraid. Because at the end of the day, the story will be written. It'll be written, and I'm really happy with the story that I've written so far. I love ranting. Love it. All right, did we get another super chat? Uh-oh. Let me go back. Another super chat. Thank you, Alex Scott. Ryan, please say you're in big trouble, Timmy. Thank you both for doing this.
You're in big trouble, Timmy. That's his catchphrase. Like, oh, they're all in big trouble. They're all in big trouble. I can't deliver it with the same patheticism as, is that a word? With the same pathetic delivery that Tim does. But there you go. Thanks.
All right. Did we have more of, thank you again for the super chat. Yes. Did we have more of that Troy video, or did we want to switch to the other one?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit left. Let's go ahead and finish that out so that we have, because I want to archive this whole thing. Who knows? We might need to use it in court. So let's put it on your channel with full context.
3 cheers for Troy Abels. And check out, I'll put this one first, what he broke down and nailed. And Krista, Casey, check it out in the next post, okay? I'm going to post it right now. Listen to his breakdown, okay? And that's Trader D's partner in crime. See how they fare. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Don't use AI. Just be honest. Be honest. I know that's a tough thing for all my enemies. Just be honest and watch what happens. Truth just flows when you don't have to remember a lie. So I did that video in the gym, took a shower, and in the shower I was thinking about something. I want to do a PS right here. And the PS is this. I truly, Catherine and I do forgive every single one of these people. Truly. Our decision to do this is based in children and the right thing being done. The only way for the right thing to be done for the children that these people hurt, okay, is to expose them. So you can forgive, and you need to forgive. If I didn't forgive, I wouldn't be able to do the rescues in Brazil, in Syria. I wouldn't risk my life, and I couldn't have the flow that I talked about. When you're telling the truth in companionship with the Holy Spirit, it wouldn't work. You have to forgive. The grudge makes you guilty. Okay, I don't have personal grudges. Let this be a lesson. But mercy can't rob justice, not God's justice, when children were the ones hurt by Trader D, by Sasha, by Krista, by Mustos, by Matson even, okay? When you don't do your homework and you're not Matthew 18 compliant, whatever consequences come from that, it's on you. If you contributed to hurting kids because you were irresponsible as a podcaster, that is a sin on you. Okay? I forgive these people. Okay? I'm fighting for children, and so should you. And that's why you need to tell the truth, be Matthew 18 compliant, and do your homework. Okay? All right. God bless you guys.
So I guess Tim's version of forgiveness includes filing lawsuits against people that's how he forgives people.
This is me forgiving you. He's like one of those old timey guys robbing a bank, and he's like shooting a heart, and his victim's like, tell him that Timmy was here and he loves you. He forgives you. He's out the back door. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Tim. Cool. Calling your victims.
What a great ambassador.
I forgive these people. These mentally retarded 40-year-old moms who didn't know how to get out of abusive situations. These fucked up twats. I forgive them, obviously, but whatever happens to them happens, you know. I can't be the judge, jury, executioner, and that's for God to do. Oh my God. Like, who the hell is buying this? Gosh, Tim.
Yeah, I forgot. He's probably referring to that scripture in the New Testament that says, I'm paraphrasing, that those who would speak evil against you, forgive them. And by forgiving them, turn your whole heart over to them through lawsuits and angry rants on social media. Something like that. That was paraphrasing. I may have gotten that wrong.
Amen. Again, we all subscribe to our own
forgiveness.
Scripture. We all subscribe to our own stuff. So, you know, if you're a subscriber to Tim Ballard's version of scriptures and revelations, seek help and check yourself into a facility managed by professionals. But you know what? Everyone else, we don't have to live by Tim's made up wackadoodle scriptures. Again, the Matthew 18 compliant, I know I added that funny little joke in there, but if you guys don't know, he's saying he uses this, he throws out D&C when he's talking about his excommunication trial but nobody can do this. They have to be scripturally compliant. Scripturally compliant. If you look at the logic here, it says on black and white on the page. I mean, it's from God's mouth to these pages. You have to be compliant and go to your brother and talk with him before you do all of these wild accusations. Well, for one, all of these people have, like, the very first video back in 2023 that Eric Mustos put up, or Glenn Beck, who used to be Tim's bestest bud, who helped get OUR off the ground, and the Nazarene Fund, had every reason to believe Tim over the women. They went to the women, saw the evidence in the text messages. They were Matthew 18 compliant. And well, would you look at that? Didn't work out so well for you, Tim. But my point is a bigger point than that. It's about intuition. There's a point at which we find ourselves at in society right now. I'm speaking to everybody out there, that when we look at people who are, I'm just going to straight up say, obvious psychopaths, where you know something is off with them. Fill in the blank with whoever else you're thinking. My example is Tim Ballard. Okay, Erica Kirk also comes to mind. But people who just, something is off with this person, bare minimum, right? And you have people out there that are Christian podcasters, like I think Allie Beth Stuckey and other various ones, and they're always trying to go by the word. Well, in the word it says this, and logically they say this, and they're so foundational in what the scriptures say. And I'm not here to disparage the scriptures. I think that there is a masculine and feminine component to which, you know, scriptures and structure and stories and myth can be useful for our psyche and our civilizations, right? But what is missing right now is the intuition. It is the intuition to, I mean, we don't always have the words because we don't always deal with psychopaths in our day-to-day lives, but when we are confronted with them in media, who are propagandizing something to us, that want us to believe something, to be on their side, and we might be on their side. People might be on Tim Ballard's side up until a certain point. To say, wait, my intuition is telling me that something here is off, and I'm going to break these tribal lines because my intuition is coming to the forefront. And that is what we need to restore in our psyches and in our collective right now. Is you want to believe the scriptures, you want to believe the word, you want to go by the rule book of this, I feel ya, I get you, but the other 50% of that equation has to be the intuition of knowing when something is off and having just the the ability to make rational decisions. It can be like what's the word when you're hiking? The switchbacks. When you're hiking up a mountain, when you're trying to discover something that is truthful, you don't just go straight up the mountain, you go into switchbacks. And that is like the logic and the intuition, the feminine, the masculine, the energies, okay? I'm not talking hippy-dippy here. I'm just talking about the polarities of things that in our consciousness I'm gonna talk as a country right now, have just been so polarized. But when you go on these switchbacks of take the logic, but also take the intuition, and there are just people like, on Tim's camp who take that switchback and they walk it straight off the mountain because they're going straight on. Well, logically speaking, he's the guy who stops kids from being sex trafficked. So everything that he says is true and righteous, and he's speaking the words that align with the type of Jesus that I believe in and the politics that I believe in. And people will walk that little like logic path of this guy. I shouldn't have any intuition. And they'll walk themselves right off of that switchback off of the mountain. But to actually discover what's true, it needs to have a balance of what is logical and also what is intuitive. And that, I think, is what has been missing from this entire conversation, not just with Tim Ballard, but as a nation. As a nation. Amen. Write that in my scriptures. Okay. Ryan, any thoughts? Shall we move on to the next video?
Amen. Well, I'm going along the lines of scriptures. I just want to point out, is anybody feeling the spirit from Tim's videos? Like the Holy Ghost, are they feeling, watching these videos, these rants, these angry manic rants, more compassion for your fellow men, more anything along the lines of turning the other cheek? It boggles my mind that Tim can't figure out, like, first of all, from a Christian perspective, how not Christian his behavior is. He's the exact opposite of that. But even just from a logical perspective, like, if you go on the attack and insult people and destroy their lives, and then add further insult to injury by blasting them on your social media page, do you not realize how many enemies you're creating and how much motivation you're giving people to attack you back and do whatever they can to take you out? Like, I don't know how he doesn't realize that. We wouldn't even be here if, like, all the women that came forward with the public claims of sexual assault, they all first went to OUR executives internally to try and resolve this. They all went and explained what had happened to them, what he was doing to them. And yeah, he was ousted from the organization. However, he was ousted in a way that kept his credibility intact. He didn't offer apologies and admissions of what he'd done to the women. And he just hung them out to dry and thought that they'd go away or something. If he could have actually been Matthew 18 compliant, which he's so stuck on, or invoked any sort of Christian principles into how he's handled this, we wouldn't even be here and talking about it. He could have I don't know about easily, but he could have righted his wrongs through admissions of guilt, repentance, and tried to undo the damage that he had done in the lives of these people so long ago, and probably still had some sort of career to build off of even after that, because there's a lot of really twisted, sick people that have committed horrible things that still go on to have careers. But instead, he chose to viciously attack his victims privately and publicly. And that's why we're at the place that we're at right now. So I mean, I just want to vomit in my mouth anytime I hear him like invoke the name of Jesus Christ or claim Christian
Mhm.
principles that he's some sort of ambassador for Jesus Christ, that Jesus has his back, is on his side, because he obviously doesn't know the first thing about actually forgiving people, actually treating people with any sort of compassion or any sort of love. He's just an angry person that has abused people allegedly and then re-victimizes them over and over for the last 3 years
Mhm.
in the most horrible, vicious ways. And he doesn't realize on a common sense level how much he is motivating all of us to fight even harder. Like, that's honestly, like, I've wanted to like bow out of doing podcasts about attacking him, but then he comes up with another bullshit attack on these women. And I'm like, damn it, Tim,
Mhm.
I would step out of this and stop attacking you if you would just actually do the right thing, make right by these women, and admit your faults, move on, move on with your
Mhm.
life. But he's doing the opposite. He's actually causing even more harm. I know I've heard, I don't remember who it was, but I believe one of the women said that his attacks on them hurt and are almost more painful than being sexually assaulted in the first place. And the people at
Mhm.
OUR that have chosen to protect Tim rather than protect the victims, that hurts almost more than being sexually assaulted in the first place. And that
Yeah.
makes so much sense to me because, like, the sexual assault happens, it's an incidence in their life that they have to deal with. But then for people who weren't the actual abuser to protect the actual abuser causes you to, like, it's the biggest mind F that people who claim to be anti-trafficking, that are working in an organization to protect women and children victims, are now protecting the perpetrator. And that's like the biggest mind. It makes you question the
Mhm.
reality of your entire existence. That's what it's done for me.
Mhm.
Like, and I think
Mhm.
that's what probably has happened in some ways. Like, who
Mhm.
can you possibly trust if you can't trust those people? Um, so I don't know.
Mhm. I'm
Yeah,
exhausted with you.
yeah,
Man,
he needs to really check himself. Like, he's doing so much more harm than he even knows to his own cause by speaking out. And that's the other thing. Like, somebody's mentioned in there, I think in a chat or one of the comments, like, isn't he down to one lawyer? Does he have not lawyers? I think this video and other videos like this are proof that his handlers are MIA. Like, early on, he wasn't
mhm.
making videos like this because he's incriminating himself, he's perjuring himself, and he's
Mhm.
giving so much ammunition for all of us, if we do get our day in court, to to expose him and who he is
Mhm.
and all of his lies. And so he's building defamation cases against himself with these rants. If that's the silver lining from this, he's just strengthening everybody else's cases. So,
Good job, Tim.
yay! Keep going,
But
Tim.
God
Keep
told him
doing it.
to.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone believes that they are led by God, like Tim, I believe that Tim really does believe that he's led by a God, because his only alternative in his makeup of reality is that he have to be led by Satan, which is where I'm inclined as an atheist to come from. So it's really saying a lot.
Mhm.
But he's inclined to think that he's led by God, obviously. And if God wills it, if God puts on his heart all of this defamation and all these smears against his alleged victims, then God will see him through it. He'll provide in the end. Even if his lawyers abandon him, and even if his friends abandon him, if all of his OUR buddies and all of his podcasting and LDS friends in the church abandons him, the God that Tim believes in his own head will never, ever leave him lost and alone in this scary and confusing world. Tim really believes that. And so he's dangerous in that way because he's a religious zealot. He's his own cult leader with his own cult following, right? And just to also speak to
Mhm.
the thing about just narcissistic abuse. If you've ever been on the receiving end of narcissistic abuse, and have I probably been a narcissist in my lifetime too? Sure. I think we all have different aspects of self centeredness. Sometimes I talk on the podcast too long and other various things, but to call out narcissistic abuse for what it is, it is a psychological mindfuck if you've been through it. Because it's not just what happened, it is your brain telling stories, because for the abuse to happen in the first place, you have to believe the abuser's stories, and that voice is still the primary voice in your head. You don't have your own intuition dialed in yet. You don't have your own voice saying, kick that voice out of your head. I'm a, hopefully well-adjusted post-Mormon woman, and I still have problems with my narcissistic abuser when I get down and I'm depressed and my brain chemistry isn't going well. The thoughts and narratives that existed that allowed the abuse to take place, it can come back in like a, tsunami, like a tidal wave, flooding emotion and erasing all logical thought. That is what narcissistic abuse is. It's a mind fuck. It's a narrative. It's a story. It's echoing through the halls of your empty cavern once that narcissistic abuser leaves. So it's not just the abuse, it's the narrative. And so I totally understand where the women are coming from, that it's the continued lies, the continued smears. And at the end of the day, them saying, why didn't I leave? Why did I believe that? How could I have been so stupid? What was wrong with me? Okay, I'm feeling all of these confused and angry and sad and horrible feelings. And sometimes that voice that is left over from the narcissistic abuser just tells you to point it back at yourself and just tells you all of these icky feelings are back because you're the bad person. And that is why I stand up so strongly for victims, not just of this Tim Ballard case, but all over, that it's a very fine line of abuse to walk, of a psychological understanding that most people don't quite come to grasp in their lifetime. What people are capable of and what your own psyche is capable of being manipulated for. I've been through it. I never will be again. But I think if you want to believe in afterlives, or you want to believe in, different spiritual progression, whatever your belief is about why we go through hard things in our life, at least believe this, that like at every point, some kind of person is going to have to come face to face with a narcissistic abuser, somebody who is replacing their own intuition and taking the deepest, darkest parts of themselves, uprooting them and saying, that is who you are. You are this bad person. And you coming out against me, you acknowledging what I did. No, you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong. You are the wrong person. And if you don't have a support system, you don't have steady mental health, if you don't have a lot of resources, it is very easy to slip back into, I am the wrong person. I am in the wrong. This narcissistic abuser, maybe they're not so bad after all because they told me I'm wrong. I'm in the wrong. I feel wrong. I'm in the wrong. Everybody has to come in contact with that. I hope they don't, but if they do, to look at it in its face and call it out and say, absolutely not, bullshit, get out of here. There's only one voice in my head. Mine's name is Carah Burrell. Yours is your own name, but I'm horrified for what these women had to go through and anyone who's come in contact with Tim Ballard, but it is just a lesson about narcissistic abuse and what people who on the other end of that, what comes out of it. It's people like Celeste being asked, why did you stay? And her abuser blasting her face and reputation out there for the world as if she's just some dumb, retarded, moronic mom who should have known better. Now, I hope that Celeste knows that she is beautiful. She is innocent. She is one of my heroes for what she's done to stand up for Tim. And the narratives that he has about her are just to psychologically control her. They're for one, to put out a message to all of our audience, but they're specifically also to send a message to her, to all the other women, to all the other people who think about speaking up. And I'm here to say, fuck off. Not another fucking word of it. It's obvious. It is so obvious the type of intimidation tactics that this narcissistic abuser has been employing from day one. That is my piece. Now, I also wanted to read
full display.
Full display. And I'm so sorry, Power Ranger Tea Time, that I didn't get to this earlier.
absolutely.
Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. 60-year-old lawyer lady here. Notice that Timmy doesn't say what he is suing people for, just sending letters. Does he know the difference between a court martial and a court martial? Very funny. Does he?
Yeah,
No,
you're right.
it's all intimidation.
Yeah, it doesn't say what he's suing, what he would be suing all of us for. But I can't even imagine that. Like, I feel like if there were lawsuits coming forward, then he'd just issue the lawsuits. But he's threatening. I mean, Kara's intro was fabulous, where she went down that list of people that most of the people on that list he's threatened to sue, including the LDS Church, including, yeah, I mean, just the longest list. He's issued so many threats. And I think it probably is pretty apparent to most people that have been following this podcast. And if you're new, it probably is apparent just in this one that that lawsuit's threatening somebody with a lawsuit. That's disturbing. That's bothersome. Like, yeah, it's just bothersome. And so he's using those threats to just hit back at people, whether he actually follows through them or not. And I think it's just another evidence of how he uses false statements like "I'm going to sue you" into oblivion as manipulation tactics. Like, his manipulation is on full display in these videos, and anybody that has like 2 brain cells can see that. But we still need to point it out. And so I think it's just absolutely, like you said it great, Carah, like, it's on full display how he manipulates, gaslights, intimidates, and threatens people into falling in line with what he wants. Like, that's what's happening in all of these videos. And the public service announcement side of this is, once you see it in Tim, hopefully you'll be able to see it in other people that are trying to take something from you in your own lives. It's super obvious with Tim. It's not so obvious with everybody else. So, but super obvious with Tim. And I also want to point out that I love everybody's comments, man. We have
Me too.
The best audience here. Like, you're like, this whole subject like gets me really worked up, and it takes me a long time. Like, your sarcasm is absolute gold. It feeds my soul. Like, I want to just like read everybody's comments on every video we put out there in the live chat, and usually in the comment section when it's posted also. And you guys are freaking hilarious, and it just feeds my soul. So I just can't thank you so much for putting your voice out there, adding your voice to the chorus, giving us some feedback. And man, you got some zingers in there and some sarcasm that is gold, absolute gold. I love it. I wish we could just spend the whole next hour just reading through your comments, because there's so many good ones in there.
Yep. All right. So should we transition over? So we are not done yet, you guys. We still have one more thing to show you. There is another clip of Tim. Ryan has been busy snow plowing. It was like the only snow that we got last week. But here I am. I'm like, oh my gosh, Ryan, did you see what Tim said? And you also see this? Did you see this? Did you see this? It's just been an onslaught of Tim saying unhinged things. But we picked out to the top of the pile of the most unhinged things to show you today, because they specifically involve us being threatened and sued. But we're not the only ones. There is another insider with an OUR who got the gumption to write a comment on Tim's public Facebook page. And it would delight me to no end if you all would just make it your goal to also mention some accurate, evidence-based, truthful things. You know, you could mention stuff as well. I mean, you use your free time how you want. I'm not pushing one narrative or another, but doing what this fine young woman also did, who goes by the name of, Ryan, help me out. When I point to you, it's where you say her name.
Heidi Allred Christensen.
Heidi Allred Christensen.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Yep. So this fine young lady goes and
a new villain.
a new villain has emerged, and she writes a comment responding to Tim that we will play now, and his threats and attacks go AWOL against her. And I didn't know this when I saw the video. I thought she was just a random commenter. But Ryan, why don't you explain to the audience who Heidi is?
Yeah. It turns out he calls her a troll, but she's a lot more than a troll. She was actually, I believe, the secretary or she worked the front desk for OUR. And I think she may have even transitioned over to Our Rescue. Maybe she's still there currently. So this is another insider, another person that worked with Tim personally within the organization that just couldn't take it and posted a comment on his Instagram video, his Facebook video, rant. And the thin-skinned Tim could not take it and has to attack her and threaten her over her comment. So that's where we're
at. You are a fraud. Stop trying to distract from your own affairs, drug use, lies, embezzlement, and misbehaviors. Whoa. She either is an insider at OUR or she watches the Timmy Did What podcast, because that is precise and allegedly accurate. I don't know. I wasn't there, but she's speaking from her own personal experience. It sounds like description of Tim's misbehaviors. So now let's watch Tim respond. Are we ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Play. This is
sound.
Heidi already.
Okay.
So I don't usually respond to trolls, but Heidi Allred Christensen, let's have a conversation. She's an Our Rescue person, so a troll, but with responsibility. So Heidi, I see that you are absolutely sure I've embezzled money, I've had affairs, and I've had drug use and lies. So listen, you're gonna get a lawsuit probably within the week, unless you either apologize or since you're so confident and you apparently want to be famous because you posted, give us the proof. I want the proof because I don't have the proof because none of those things ever happened. But apparently you are so confident you have proof. And I'm sure the people at Our Rescue are just thrilled that you're out, continuing to defame. The post that she's responding to, everybody, is me saying those who want to pretend that this lie was real. But now Heidi is probably, I said this to the authors because we want to use her as an example in the best-selling book. And she'll probably get an insert in the documentary as well. And she's going to get probably a lawsuit unless she either apologizes or provides the evidence. Provide the evidence, Heidi. You're so confident. Heidi Allred Christensen. All right, guys. Next.
Wow, you dismantled her. She's going to get a highlight in the documentary. Can you imagine being so thin-skinned that a Facebook comment gets a place in your documentary and an entire lawsuit? That's why all of Tim's lawyers have probably left. Every single person who writes a Facebook comment, Tim's their lawyers are like, yeah, I know we charge $500 an hour, but this is highway robbery at this point with all of these messages you're sending us. If we want to represent you, it's going to be $1 million a week, Tim. Anyway. It's fun.
Yeah, it's freaking hilarious to me that this was, I believe, posted on his Instagram or Facebook, a response. We wouldn't even know about her or know about this comment unless he put out an entire video response to it. Are you that stupid? And what's also even more shocking and surprising, what's hilarious is he's like, Heidi Allred Christensen is a troll, but she works for Our Rescue. So she's a troll and I swear in his head, he thought credibility, because he paused there. He's like, he's a troll with responsibility. Yeah, she has responsibility and credibility as somebody that works on the inside. So he just elevated somebody with credibility who knows who he is, who worked with him, who works in Our Rescue, who probably is aware of all of the dirty laundry that she has to sift through, that Our Rescue has to sift through to deal with this guy. and he elevates her comment. Somebody that actually isn't just a Facebook troll, but actually has credibility. Another
Actually has credibility.
insider. Like, are you that dumb? Like, apparently he is. And then
So, because I
again,
understand, yeah, I understand coming after us, or at least me. I'm like, I didn't work there. I haven't seen the documents, but he's calling out somebody who worked and would have seen all of the behind the scenes stuff. Go on. So, him. Shh. Shh.
yeah, he's doing our job for us,
Yeah.
really, by finding these people and elevating themselves to prominence.
I would have never seen an OUR
Yeah,
insider like that.
another one.
Succinct,
Yeah.
accurate, description of the
And
man.
then the other half of that whole rant is he's exposing himself as a manipulator, where he's manipulate using the threat of lawsuits. That's kind of the theme of this whole thing, is we're exposing his manipulation tactics, the threat of lawsuits, to try and coerce her into retracting her statement, or bringing forth the evidence. And now OUR and Tim are on a trajectory for a lawsuit between them. That should be pretty apparent. He's attacking everybody in Our Rescue and OUR formerly. And I'm sure he's in violation of a non-disclosure agreement or multiple non-disclosure agreements by attacking his own organization that he founded. And so they're headed towards a lawsuit. And I think that's why he knows. He's like, bring the receipts. They have all the receipts. They have in their possession the internal investigation that got him fired. Please, if you work for Our Rescue and you have that and you would leak it to us, we would love you so much. We would love you so much. Get all of those details. But he knows that there's some sort of non-disclosure agreement for that, when he was fired from OUR, they agreed in some way to keep his reputation intact, and he agreed to keep his mouth shut. Well, he's in violation of that. So I think it's probably fair and acceptable now to that non-disclosure agreement is null and void. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see if she or anybody from Our Rescue, they have the receipts. They have absolutely all the receipts that he's afraid of. And so he's threatening them also in this rant. But the manipulation tactics is on full display right here. He sees a woman that stands up to him, and he cannot take it. And he has to threaten them with lawsuits. And this is a pattern that has been happening for over 10 years. A personal friend of mine who I don't want to drag into this because she's a very well-respected person in the nonprofit sphere who handled, let me just say, she worked in OUR, was high up. As soon as she outed Tim and called him out, this was a decade ago. She's also was my neighbor. As soon as she outed him, called him out for fraudulent use of funds and for making promises that he wasn't going to deliver to the donors that she was in charge of. He immediately fired her, took her laptop, and within 48 hours issued her with a letter from lawyers threatening her to sue her into oblivion if she exposed anything about him. And so this is just his tactic. This is his MO. This is how he's been operating for well over a decade, is to try and keep the dissenters and the critics and the people that know the truth about who he is silent through threats of lawsuits. And so he was doing that to this friend and neighbor of mine 10 years ago. She's not the only one, multiple people. And now he's still operating this way by Heidi Ulrich Christensen exposing him in a Facebook or Instagram post comment section. Boom. You're going to get a lawsuit if you keep going. So he's obviously afraid of her because she has something to say. He's obviously afraid of David Jacobs because he has the truth and he has very damning evidence. If it's anybody that has access to David Jacobs' defamation or deposition, if that could be linked to us, I would love to read that too. That would be amazing as well. Carah's emails in the comments section. It's nuancehoe@gmail.com, right? Or the nuancehoe, not just nuancehoe, the nuancehoe. Like there's some emphasis there because she is the nuancehoe. So yeah, leak those to us or put them out publicly somehow. That would be amazing. Or go to reporters. Adam Herbert at Fox 13 News is a great one. The Vice Anna Merlin with Vice News, who she's now at the Atlantic, I believe. Is that right? They moved. Anyways,
I don't know.
Mike Baker with the New York Times. He's been covering this. Link it to them too. They'll keep your identity anonymous. So will we, if you ask us to. But we'd like to see what these people know that is triggering Tim so hard that he has to publicly denounce them and try and threaten them in a public way. Must be good stuff.
And Ryan, don't worry, I'm not going to allude to too much, but I am going to allude to something. Speaking of us possibly being sued for sharing the truth, we are sitting on a little bit of a bombshell. I don't want to, say anything in a podcast that Tim's probably watching, looking for reasons to sue us before we share what we could potentially be sharing. But we don't even, I'm glad that you put that out to say, hey, David Jacobs deposition, we really would like that. I think we have something even more solid than that, don't we, Ryan? I'm not alluding. I'm not saying what we have yet, but I feel like we have something from the horse's own mouth, clear as day in black and white, irrevocable proof of something that Tim says didn't happen, and might be having our hands on that. So we have the ultimate source.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think we'll be able to release it is the question?
Well, I'm hopeful that major network news, press, media outlet will release this information soon, and then we'll be able to talk about it.
It's literally like asking somebody else to open your presents on Christmas morning. I fucking hate that. It just sucks.
I know.
It literally is like going to somebody who already gets all of the press and attention. It's like going to a rich kid with like your little orange that Santa gave you, and it's all you have. And you finally have a real piece of amazing fruit of, the rotten tree, but we have it. We have something. Oh, do we have? We've had some good stuff before, but I feel like this is the bombshell of all bombshells. And we have to go give it to the rich kid who they're nice. They live down the block, but it's like somebody else opening your Christmas gift. And I
know it's hard for you, but we're not in this for our own self-aggrandizement. It's like, yeah, we could really win an amazing battle, but we got to be strategic about all this and let the war happen in a way that unfolds very badly for Tim. So yeah, patience is hard, but the war is a big war and it's a long game. So hold off. It's coming. The big stuff coming down the road. That's going to be a very bad day for Tim, that we don't even need to take those shots because somebody else will.
What I'm doing is I'm setting things up in the minds of all of our viewers right now, that anytime they hear some amazing bombshell from Fox 13 or New York Times, they'll wonder, was that what Carah was talking about that they had evidence of first? You'll never know. Maybe. I do want you to think that it's all of that. It's literally one thing, but for the hundreds of bombshells that will be coming out, the Timmy Did What podcast had them first, but we didn't have the legal protection to be able to say them without an entire reputable, the way the New York Times is able to publish things that we're not able to. So we'll let them do it. But we had it first. You'll think Timmy did what? Is what you'll think. when you find out the
Yeah.
bombshell. All right. Anything else?
Okay,
we
we've said too much.
Ugh,
No, I
no,
think that pretty
said
much
nothing.
is the gist of it, of what we need to cover today. Again, greatest audience ever. Thanks for the support.
Oh, I had another super chat. Oh, I almost forgot. Stephen Caldwell said, I still believe in humanity in part because of people like you. You are both heroes. I sincerely hope you receive the strength to keep up the fight. Release the files. Believe the women. Yay.
Yes.
On board. Thank you, Stephen.
On board.
$10.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're doing with your time because it just takes a second. Just go ahead and press the button and subscribe. Like this video if you can. I want to hear your comments on this one because we truly are at a new precipice, new legal entanglings here. And I obviously have not been very well behaved on this motherfucking podcast, calling out Tim motherfucking Ballard. As you can evidence has shown by my inserting of swear words between his names. But we love the support that we have. We love the audience that we have accrued over the last couple of years. We hope to continue making podcasts like this and sharing the evidence, sharing more interviews as we get them, as people are able to speak out. We've had a couple booked, but they have not been able to come to the forefront for understandable reasons. But Ryan and I are doing our very best to make podcasts like this and the other ones on my channel, Mormon History Hoedown ones. So any support to the donor box, to Venmo, and to either one of the Patreons. There's Timmy Did What Patreon. I also have a Mormon History Hoedown Patreon. Recurring donations. All I'm trying to say is flip you upside down by your ankles and shake out just a couple pocket change. Really, that's all I'm asking. So that reoccurring like once a month, that'd be great. But we love you no matter what. We're thankful for your comments and your views and your likes on this video and your support. It really means the world to us because we are in a passion project for all the reasons that we stated earlier. And we are so grateful that there are also really good people out there in the world who sees these alleged victims, though, for the trauma that they have incurred, and Tim Ballard for what he is. And so much of this that overlaps with the Mormon church, narcissistic abuse, all of these different topics that are really foundational to what I'm passionate about talking about. Free agency. Mormons, you guys are on board with that, right, too? Like all of the things that I hope that we can all agree on that we should be fighting and standing up for. So grateful that you guys join us every week, and we are going to be even more regular. You'll probably be seeing our faces 2 to 3 times a week talking about all the subjects. So your support would mean the world. And you can get this podcast on our Patreon. You can get it on your podcasting apps under Timmy Did What, and any other items that I'm missing, Ryan.
Yeah, let me throw out there. I saw a comment 1149 by Izzy Real 5405 that they wrote that at 1:30 p.m. in-person hearing on March 3rd in 3rd Judicial District, Salt Lake.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with this hearing, so if you can email us more details about what's going on, and if it's open to the public, then people that want to support or do any sort of show of support, that'd be great. But I'm not familiar with this hearing and what's going on there, so please email us with more details on what's happening, or maybe we can look that up also and try and keep our audience up to date on what's happening in court. There's so many freaking lawsuits that are happening from multiple different people that it's really hard to keep track of all of them and everything that's going on. So I don't know who you are, Izzy Real 5405, but yeah, if you want to give us more information on that, and if it's something that we can get out to our audience, then we will so. So email Carah.
Thank you.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah, I've recently become a real investigative journalist myself, getting into the court documents. I have a website that I subscribe to, and I go and check it periodically and get the updates about what's been going on. And sometimes they have documents that have just been sitting there that I'm like, Ryan, get on a live stream right now. We need to read a 6-hour deposition of what John Lyons just said, because holy shit, I didn't know that was in the court documents. So if there's like a different one that I need to know that number and I need to put that in my rotation of checking, you guys let me know. I am I literally am a mentally unstable, whatever he called Celeste. I am that. I am I am a soccer mom. I am a drive a minivan.
Mhm.
I take my kids to flag football, and I also have a life. But yeah, any help that I can get to get this message out, tips. If you
Mhm.
have more insider information, obviously email us. We'd love to hear you guys. And if you have more compliments for my hair, thanks. I just put socks in them. I just wanted to let everyone know. If you just put socks in them and do this for a couple hours while you're getting ready. I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning just because I was so fired up about doing this podcast today, and so grateful that you guys tuned in. Any other final words? Any other
No.
final super chats?
Thanks for your hard work on this, Carah, and keeping me in the
Thank
fight.
you.
Couldn't do it without you.
All right. And don't you guys love the name of this podcast? Whenever I get really down, I am always just like, but we have the best podcast, the best audience, the best name, the best question to ask. Don't you just guys love the name of our podcast? Timmy.
What?
Timmy Did.